Hello, I wanted to spend a few moments just talking about the marble maze. And again, I'm a teacher. I teach high school, and typically I teach science courses, but this semester I'm teaching a class for our freshmen called Design Thinking. We learn about the different types of the process of design thinking and do a lot of different projects and stuff. I really am kind of a newbie with this class, but I do like to kind of build little projects and things and have the students kind of do that also. And this semester I'm teaching a section of it in person and also a couple sections of it online. And I wanted to I do look at the Instructables website quite a bit, and I saw they were doing a paper contest. I've never entered a contest before, and I thought, oh, it might be kind of interesting to find something and I could do mostly out of paper and then enter that. And I came up with this kind of marble maze. And so let me go through kind of what I used. Again, I'm sure you can do a lot of substitutions also. But to make the base, I used a piece of cardstock or cover stock, 110-pound weight, and that a little extra weight and thickness provided a nice base for the maze. I used a piece of cardboard for the frame. To make the kind of bumpers here for the maze itself, I used different sizes and colors of Post-it notes. Now, I was a little unsure what to use kind of for a base. I know I could have used some cardboard, but I was kind of at the store and picked up some of these disposable kind of aluminum pans, and I thought, oh, the surface, the game will fit right on here pretty nicely. And I chose a size that was a little bigger than a sheet of paper, and I thought it could just rest right on there. Well, then when I saw that they included some plastic frames, I could just set my maze right on top there and it would fit pretty nicely. And I know that there's different sizes of these kind of plastic things. This is kind of from some food here. You could, I made my my game 8.5 by 11, but that's variable too. To make these bumpers then along the game, I used regular copy paper and then kind of a small marble, a ball that I had. So here are the tools I used for the construction. I used a hobby knife and scissors, and then I had a drafting template with circles and a pencil, hot glue gun, and slugs. I used a Tinkercad for the actual kind of 2D sort of, I'll show you that shortly, 2D kind of model, Scotch tape, a meter stick, and ruler. And part of what I was trying to do is to have the kids practice a little bit more with Tinkercad. And so that was my first step, is to Tinkercad the design. And I do not, or I must say, I am not a Tinkercad expert, but I'm kind of learning as the students learn about it. But I basically kind of Tinkercad did an 8.5 by 11 sheet, and then I put in the holes, and then put in some of these barriers or bumpers. And to print this, then I downloaded it, and then I was able to print it. So that's kind of the Tinkercad, and I've been working with my students a little bit on practicing with Tinkercad. I thought this would be another good way of practicing. So I basically put this print, then I lined it up then with a piece of this cardstock, one piece. And then I used the hobby knife to kind of poke holes, little holes, and I would know then where the holes were on the cover stock. And then I used a drafting template then to create then my circles. And my ball was, I think, a 1.5 inch ball little marble, so I created the holes then a little bit larger, 3/4 inch in diameter. Once then I had all the holes cut out, I then created a frame. This is showing the back of the playing surface. I basically taped that cover piece of cardstock onto then this cardboard frame, and that cardboard frame then would fit nicely into my plastic base. And I cut a little hole at the bottom of my base along one of the edges as an exit point for the marble, so when the marble would go through one of these holes, then the marble or the ball would roll down due to gravity, and then the person playing it could just put their hand down there and get the marble or ball out. So I then put this cover stock frame unit, placed it right onto the plastic base. It fit pretty nicely, and so there's the plastic base, and I just put it right on there. Since the plastic base was just a little bit larger, I made sure to cut the frame just to the correct size, and I could just lay it right on top. I then used different, like I said, used different sorts of Post-it notes and cut horizontal and vertical sorts of, just kind of rolled them up and made the barriers. And since the Post-it notes are a little bit sticky there, I was able to kind of push them down, and then I was able to kind of experiment with the progression of the ball through different sorts of routes. And so since the Post-it notes were a little bit sticky, I could kind of keep them down while I experiment with placing these around. Once I kind of thought I had a pretty good placement, then I hot glued these maze kind of bumpers into place. I then realized I needed some bumpers along the edge, so I rolled up just normal paper, and I cut those papers. I basically rolled up 4 and cut the paper into lengths and widths and hot glued those down to make kind of the overall bumpers. And I made a few adjustments, and then it seemed to work well, as you saw in the video. A few things I might do differently. Well, I kind of wanted to enter this into the paper contest, so I was using as much paper as I could, and I was making my size 8.5 by 11, but I'm sure you could vary that, and you could probably use other things for the base, maybe like a box or something along those lines. Now, I think it'd be easier. I know I cut up Post-it notes, but it might be easier to actually use plastic straws and cut different plastic straws and use those as bumpers and then hot glue those into place. And I realized later that I could probably have taken my design here and I could have printed it directly onto the cardstock, and that would have saved a few steps along the way. Okay, well, I hope that helps. We'll talk to you later. Okay, well, that's kind of that's kind of my instructions there. I hope you enjoy building one also. I know I sure did.